A special van experience for you today with the all-new Kia PV5, an all-new van architecture, and they are rethinking the whole van subject, especially on the interior. This will be super exciting with a premium interior actually today, but also a lot of space on the inside. And how does it drive? So we are here in Korea for you today, where this car is also built with Thomas Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the front, which looks very untypically, but you can see electric all the way closed front. In the very front you have the charging port here, AC and DC, 10.5 kilowatt AC up to 150 kilowatt DC charging, and 10 to 80% is done in 30 minutes. For this 71 kilowatt hour battery, there's also a smaller available with 51 kilowatt hour. For the passenger versions, there's also a cargo version available that would have also an entry level, a smaller battery. We have here today the bigger battery and also with the stronger motor that is connected, 163 horsepower, 10.6 seconds in the acceleration figure, front wheel drive, nice light signature here, and we have the black and white contrast for you today. Last time in the studio we had the blue vehicle, and I think it looks indeed very unique. Then the length here at 4.70 m or 185 inches. One of the big competitors would also be the VW ID Buzz. That one is also available in the long wheelbase version, with the longer version. This one here just in this one wheelbase. Sliding doors, either manual or electric. We'll soon show you more about that. And in the rear, the typical box style to have more space on the interior. And they still have this very modern look here once again. Here you can see with the light signature. So yes, you have this boxy exterior to get as much space on the interior, but you have a very modern setup, both from the drivetrain, low center of gravity because the batteries in the bottom part. This is something where especially vans really profit from, and I'm really looking forward to drive it also here today to see how much car-alike does it drive, or does it drive like a commercial vehicle, because as I said, it's not only the passenger version, which we focus on today, cargo, and they even offer this pickup version and so on, and they also offer individual solutions, for example for wheelchair access and so on. And let's take a look here under the hood. Oh, it's a tiny hood. It's pretty nice. However, here there's no frunk, but you have to say there is a very short front hood, so they pack this in with, for example, the 12-volt battery is in here. So they keep it short in the front, and it's also good for maneuverability and so on. And yeah, there is also enough space in the rear, I can tell you. Now to the interior, which will be super exciting. First of all, standard Kia key fob here, it's actually nice, and also wide here fitting to the vehicle. Then the door handles are really massive and they feel like good quality actually, so I like that. And good door closing sound. Also important for a van. Then inside of the door, it's very interesting. It's a so low window line that you can have good view from the interior to the outside. This is the inside door handle, also manual. This is all hard pack, but at least we have like some nice structure on it. Here, this is then soft touch for your elbow, will be very important while driving. Classic controls also here for the windows and also for adjusting the side mirrors. Then you have here the grab panel from the inside. Space here, everything hard pack, but a lot of space here for bottles and the lower part and so on. Then you have this step here that you can easily get to the interior. We also have the electric seats here, lumbar support, and then here back and forth. Here also, and this is like the option trim. Soon more deals to the seats. You can see here there's a high-grade leatherette perforation and so on. Let's take a test seat here already, and as I said, I can easily get in. And you have this upright seating position. That's what I love about these vans. And here with 1A9 602, there's a lot of headroom left. Also nice fabric inside here from the roof, and I can tell you from the first impression, soon more details to that. Oh, it's also like a nice handle here to get in and out or to hold tight. You feel like you are in a premium normal car. That's the cool thing, right? But the upright seating position, of course, is then SUV-alike, comfortable, and steering wheel up and down, in and out, good adjustment. Let's find out more about the seats and the cockpit here. And very important to know here, laminated glass for the side windows in the front. And this is now what I mean. Welcome to the cockpit of the Kia PV5. So the time of very sturdy, basic vans is over. This is indeed a premium experience, starting with the seats, the high-grade leatherette perforation, heated and cooled. Here, look at that, also soft in the sit bone area. It's an excellent build quality. And then here also with non-perforation, so that looks cool. They are extremely comfortable. The base would be fabric inside, some leatherette on the outside, and this is here then the optional full leatherette in the navy tone. There's also different color available, but these are really very cool, and especially the Korean market, they love the seat cooling. So it is said that on the Korean market and also maybe on some other Asian markets, if a luxury car does not have seat cooling, it's not considered luxury. Very interesting, isn't it? But this one already has. Here's an additional armrest, also soft for your elbow. You could also put that away if you don't like it, but most of the time I would actually use it. The only limitation is here, when I would like to have the steering wheel in my most comfortable position, a little bit lower, that I can put elbow left and right for this position, then I have problem here with my knee, with the shifting, with the lower shifting, automatic shifting lever here. That's a thing we also have in some Hyundai and Kia SUVs. That's a thing when you have long legs, so I have to put my steering wheel a little bit higher, but also good quality of the steering wheel with the buttons and so on. Real buttons at the steering wheel for the volume jog, for example. European markets will also get a hotkey access that you can deactivate the speed chime. I would expect that at least because we saw it in other new Kia models. And also on the left side for the cruise control to set that. And classic stall columns around the steering. Also animal-free material of the steering wheel. And once again, high class. You can press it in here. Then it's also soft underneath, like stitching on the inside. So really an excellent build quality we see here in the van segment. New 13-inch infotainment system for Kia with Android back end, and this is special for this commercial platform here. And the reason behind that one, that this is more this has more features to individualize your experience, because they say this will also be used by huge fleets. They will also have the cargo version, as I said earlier, and then they want to have like their fleet interface individualized in there, and that's why they went for the Android backend here. It does not mean that all other Kias will get this here, so it might be only limited to this one. There's the car internal GPS here, for example. Then you have like the energy settings, then AC on, off, and lower part. This is like the home menu once again. When you press here, you get the climate settings, where you can also here activate seat cooling, seat heating. I don't have separate buttons for that in the front, which I usually appreciate with Hyundai and Kia, for example, in this case. But I mean, it's relatively easy to access. And in the lower part, you also have the climate control. It's rather small. So one thing I do not have here, that we don't have like climate buttons. Most other Kia models have that. In this case, they're not. When we have everything cleaned up here, you do have some hotkeys here still. For example, here to the electric doors, which are an option. Standard, the sliding doors, option electric sliding doors. Here left and right, for example. USB-C charging, 100 watt. This is powerful, right? And then you have inductive charging, but here it's not ventilated though. And then in the lower part here, a lot of storage. Here, for example, some camera equipment. There's like storage you can pull out. There we go. And then here the dashboard is not soft, but it's actually nicely structured, so that's fine. And then we have this glove box, which falls down undampened, but it's actually spacious. We could put a lot of the clutter in there, And we also have cubby hole here in the front. So there's another space to open that one. And then you have here some more storage. It's really good to have more storage than here. And in the middle console, we have adaptive cup holders, only 2 dots, but still adaptive for the sizes. Storage here, storage there. And then here you have the additional real charging socket, which you can also then use from the rear. So very interesting, actually. It is a cockpit here in the front where you can feel really at home. It's cozy, it has a premium atmosphere, has great build quality. The seats are my favorite, and really switching from this, you know, rather rugged commercial background to, hey, we can also offer a premium passenger experience. There will be more base entry versions, especially for the cargo version and so on. Huge sun visor here with a mirror, and you can also pull it to the side and block a lot of the sun. And then here behind it we have this small light, which you can, it's a nice clicking sound actually. Yeah, but this one like more manual, so to speak. So I'm really positively surprised about this new cockpit experience. This is bringing vans to another level. Of course, the competitor would be the VW ID. Bus, which also, has this cozy feeling on the inside. We see this somehow fits to this new EV tech. They make the interiors more modern. Oh, and we also have here nice digital instruments in 7-inch. Let's take a closer look. And here, now you can see the Apple CarPlay integration, so that works well. Then over to the driver's perspective. Here, once again, the nice knobs on the steering wheel. You can also set some custom buttons here. They can scroll through the digital instruments on the left side, for example, like this. Different views are available. And you can see this, like the city consumption so far. This is kilometers per kilowatt hour, by the way. So it's like an MPG figure, but in kilometers an hour. And here the current city range, but this city driving range only will be, of course, less when you go to the motorway. And here, by the way, once again, how you open this front cubbyhole with another USB-C charger here at the side as well. And these 7-inch instruments are actually very clear to read, like that. And here you can also, for example, activate or deactivate the active lane keeping assist. And in the lower part, you have the drive mode selector. Here, now I changed the unit, 23.7 kilowatt hours and more kilometers. That would mean city driving range of 300 kilometers or 190 miles. And what we also have available is the pet mode. Oh, set activation screen. You can set these monsters here, for example. Monster from the back. Oh, monster in the box. Oh, let's check it out. And the climate is kept. And here, pet mode is ready to be activated. Will be activated automatically if the doors are locked from the outside. Ah, okay. Oh, that's my monster pet. And very interesting, of course, here. How easy is it to park this vehicle? And we also have the according camera systems. And by the way, it's a good trick to basically like oversteer first in the parking lot, then reverse. Let's see here, easy steering maneuver, and then also with the rear view camera. I can also switch these views. For example, there's also here this animated view. This looks really fancy, doesn't it? So you can also switch that. Here, by the way, also in here closely with the rear view camera again. You can also switch to the front camera. There we go. And you see, this is a narrow parking spot, so it's not the typical van parking spot, let's take it that way. But let's see if we can manage to go in there anyways. And I think so far that looks quite good. I mean, this is really narrow, I wouldn't have picked this one like for a van or so. And here we can again use this animation, and yeah, wouldn't have guessed that. Leah, can you check? Yeah. You can watch here, like down the right. You can see it. Can you see it? It's okay?
Yeah, here it's fine.
Yeah, here, then, even though it's beeping, I think we're in it. There we go.
Yay!
Now to the rear seats, sliding doors on both sides and optional. They are also electric, like they are then here. And it continues with the premium features indeed. So for example, we have seat heating for the rear seats, for the outside ones each. And here when you fold them, then the lower part also goes lower like this, that they are, that this fold flat works better. So that's cool. And you get the same high-grade navy leatherette here, which is also super comfortable. Isofix outside each, and you have this 1/3, 2/3 split for the folding mechanism here, and you can even put them more backwards. So you almost have like a possible sleeping position here. That way it would be more neutral, or this way this way is more upright, so you can adjust that. And really cool to have the seat heating then in the rear seats. That's that's very uncommon. A lot of space then here for your knees in the rear. Also here some pockets for storage at the back part of the seat. You can hold on tight here. You can use these buttons to electrically open the doors from the inside. Then you have these manual sliding windows here to get some fresh air in the rear. Why not? There we go. And headroom 189/62, a lot of headroom. So it's a great comfortable seating position here. You have a lot of space. It's also comfortable here in the middle seat. The only thing that this one is not heated, but I think we can live with that, but easily house 5 tall Ls as well. Then you also have USB-C charging here at the back part of the seats. And this is here the 2-3-0 setup. 5-seater, later also the 7-seater with 2 going through 3, 2, 2, 3. So I have your 7 seats overall. That's great math, right? And this will be cool also for the kids that they can actually go through the middle then. And there will also be a 2, 0, 3 setup where you have then here space for a wheelchair and then a 3 bench in the rear. So this is actually a pretty cool idea that they also have these custom solutions for individual needs. Now to the trunk or the boot, which is at 1,330 liters, even when the second row is up. Of course, here really large underneath, so I can also stand under it with the 189 602. Especially pleasant in the unpleasant weather here today, also with the structure here from the lower part. So that's pretty cool. Look at this cutting out. So this is like super, super large, pretty cool. And you also have some storage possibilities here underneath, left and right. So this also comes handy for some clutter and stuff. Yeah, the trolley here looks lost in this trunk and boot area. Then here there's another storage possibility. You can fold this one here up. Also cool thing, I already fold here 2/3, it's 2/3, 1/3 split. You can see it like there. And then the measurements. So this is here in width. Is more, even I promise measuring that because it's so large. So here, this is like 1.30 m or 52 inches. Then the standard length raises here a little bit. This is like also like 1.30 m or 51 inches. And the height here, pretty cool. You can do so much with that one. Here, this is 1.13 m or 44 inches. And when I load things through here, you can see this, the complete ruler fits in here. So I have to add here even some more. So we are then here at like, this is like 2.25 m or 90 inches. Wow. So this is pretty cool. Love that. And different configurations are available. As I said, you could also have the third seating row here, would be possible. And there are, of course, then also the cargo versions if you prefer that. Let's start driving the Kia PV5. Here, this new van architecture by Kia. And we have it here also in the Korean setup. And that means that steering and suspension is a little bit softer than they usually do for the European version. And indeed, I feel that everything is set on comfort. Here, for example, the steering is super light indeed. You can also switch driving modes, Eco, Normal and Snow. Let's start in the normal mode. By the way, here in front of us, some Korean car culture. The Hyundai Sonata, one of the most sold cars here, and all the taxis are also here. The Hyundai Sonata, for example, at least most of them. And yeah, we need to go right. And one thing here is already, and this will be also a car for city traffic, definitely. And this is already a typical situation. And one of the key features is that here, the windows are super low and also to the right side. So I can very well see what's going on there. And this will be also crucial like for parking and so on, that you have a good overview of what's next to you. Because yeah, these traffic situations, they can be indeed sketchy at times. And although there's so much going on around us, you feel really calm. Because at least at the lower speeds, the noise level is really good. So it's reasonably silent. And then you also stay calm. 16-inch wheels we have here. I mean, hardly had any new car which has these small wheels. And I think it's also a bad trend that all the wheels are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And because we only have 16-inch wheels, this also then increases the comfort from suspension. And once again, here the Han River, main river that goes through Seoul. And yeah, beautiful views here also to the front, although the weather is not that nice, not that pleasant here today. Driving 60 kilometers an hour so far, not much rolling noise. And as I said, not much wind noise from the outside. Later we also try to drive a little bit quicker. And I've also been going around like a parking lot already and so on. And I really gotta say that, yes, you do have this upright seating position, but that could essentially be also an SUV. What do you feel as a difference is that you have a lot of space around you, which can be a good traveling feeling. So when we started driving, Leah always said like, oh, I love this, this van feeling of driving. It's something really special. But when you drive it yourself here with the steering and how it feels like and how compact it feels actually, although it's not like a tiny car. This here feels really like driving a passenger car. So that is also a trend we've been seeing in the past years, what manufacturers really try to do, that, you know, back in the days, these vans, or maybe also like small trucks and so on, they felt really just truck-alike. But now with the good assisted steering and the good noise comfort and so on, and also because it's an electric vehicle, it really gives you the feeling of you're driving a passenger car, which is just a little bit, you know, more spacious around you.
Yeah.
That's the cool
It's
thing,
cool,
you know.
yeah.
Very comfortable seats here with the high-grade leatherettes.
Feels very nice, yeah.
And that you sit upright. So
and seat cooling and heating.
And seat cooling and
Yeah.
heating, indeed, for the front, seat heating for the rear. So I could very well imagine going on a longer trip here, you know, longer journey with this vehicle. Yes, we talked about that earlier. The limitations are the range, of course, and the VMAX, the top speed, which is at 135 kilometers an hour, 85 miles per hour. So that's nothing for German Autobahn races. Let's take it that way. So here we can do like a first acceleration. Let's do like 50 to 80. Let's go. Woo! Plop, that's it. I mean, it's an electric vehicle, so there you usually have the instant acceleration, and that also accounts for this van here. And also at 80 kilometers an hour, there are no disturbing wind noises. Also, we have these large side mirrors, but you hardly hear anything from that from the outside. And once again, I can so well see everything that's going on next to me because of this low window line. The placement for the elbow then is a little bit low. You know, that's the catch that is to it. So when I want to hold to the steering wheel, I rather have to have like the hold on the lower part. And as I said, in the interior part, I cannot put the steering wheel lower because then I would hit the shifting lever here with my knee. Suspension, once again, is set on a rather softer note. Let's see if I go some left and right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's shaking.
Yeah. So this is indeed not the European setup, which we expect to be a little bit stiffer. But it's totally fine because here it's interesting. The Hyundai Casper is it's called Casper here and available in non-electric and also pure electric, and it's sold as Hyundai Insta, only electric in Europe then. So some market specifics here, and you saw a lot of sedans. However, also the Korean market is really picking up with the SUVs. Very high registrations lately for the Kia Sorento, for example, Kia Sportage, Hyundai Santa Fe, Hyundai Tucson, and so on. Of course, Hyundai and Kia are dominating here. And also here the Hyundai Grandeur, which is the larger sedan, also sometimes used as Uber or taxi vehicle.
And best greetings to our Korean fans.
Yeah. Best greetings to
our... Seoul here?
Everyone from Seoul, write us in the comments. Best greetings to all our fans from Korea. Already met some of you here, so always nice to talk to you, definitely. So lane change here with 80 kilometers an hour. I'm also doing it intentionally a little bit quicker than I would usually do, but car staying relatively calm. So that's once again confirming my first impression that it really handles like a passenger car. And, you know, when you look at it from the outside, it looks like this box, you know, which is typical for this van. And I mean, it is essentially a box also when you sit on the inside. That's why you have so much space. But it does not drive like a box. That's pretty cool, you know. And I think in a way, this electrification helps vans more than it helps passenger cars. You know what I mean? Because in the passenger cars, sometimes you have maybe a sporty car, then you do the electric version of it, it's 400 kilograms heavier, and it maybe is not driving as agile. Here with the vans, with putting the battery in the bottom part, you make the center of gravity really low. That counts for all EVs. But the vans are heavy anyway, you know, and there are these boxes. But then when you have these vans and put the center of gravity lower, it really helps them even more with driving more agile and more likable. And also because we had like these maybe a lot of commercial diesels in the commercial vehicle platforms, and now you put the silent electric drivetrain, it feels so much more sophisticated, you know. So, and that also accounted for the competitor, for the Volkswagen ID. Buzz, that you make this van driving so much more likable and sophisticated when it's electrified, you know. So that's a really crucial thing. I really like the sedan design here, right? Like the grandeur here. They look also so sophisticated from the exterior, right? Would like to test drive that one at some point, of course. Yeah, and I have to say here on these motorways, of course, we cannot drive as fast as we can go in Germany. It really feels nice here at this 80 kilometers an hour. Let's do one more lane change here to the right. Yeah, it's really a very relaxed driving experience. There is again this limitation that you can't drive too fast with it, but then of course you'll also drain the battery pretty quick. But this is here rather the city focus, that you drive with the family inside the city, or maybe like, let's say, in the close proximity of the city. I mean, the 71 kilowatt hour battery, which we have here in the bigger version, connected to the 163 horsepower, front wheel drive only. It will be sufficient for driving around. Here, for example, this car has been driving in the city predominantly, and then it reaches a range of 400 kilometers or 250 miles. This will not be the case when you go like really 100 to 130 kilometers an hour on the motorway. Then it will like cut the range in half or something like that, you know. So you just have to be aware of that. And of course, at the end of our test ride, we will also give you our final average consumption for today. But we can really say that when you keep at these lower speeds, which will be the predominant use case for this vehicle, then it actually seems to be pretty efficient, considering you have this box of a vehicle and not the best CD value. Of course, you have to calculate with high consumptions then on high-speed motorway driving. This would also be one of the crucial things then in the difference to the VW ID. Buzz. So I think driving-wise, they both profit from the electric drivetrain, especially since we've been driving the European version of the ID. Buzz, like Europe is the main market for that. The ID. Buzz has a way stiffer suspension, and I would also suspect that for the European comparison, and they also use bigger wheels in most of the versions. This one here, as I said, stuck with 16-inch, which is totally fine for a van, honestly. But the ID. Buzz drives sportier, drives stiffer, and it's also more suitable for highway driving, you know, also with the efficiency, CD value, higher Vmax, higher top speed, and so on. Whereas this one here rather has this rural focus and also the price focus, because you can get this one here still at decent prices. And I mean, we do have the top trim version here, but the good thing in comparison to the German competitors is that here the lowest price is just 10,000 euros away from the highest price, you know. As I told you earlier, starting below 40,000 euros and then going up to like just under 50,000 euros when you go stronger motor, the bigger battery, and like really full spec. And this is still, I think, a very good offering, considering what other car in this build quality can you get at that price. That's really the cool thing. So yes, you have this let's say range limitation when you go long way motorway, but at the same time, when you think about usability of this vehicle and like the premium factor you get, then you definitely gain in value when you get this one. Do you think we have to go left or straight?
I think straight.
Straight? Straight? Yeah. It's always good to have like my additional navigation voice assistant called Leah. And when I want to know where I need to go, and I was like, "Hey, Leah." Yeah. So my main takeaway so far is that it is actually a very pleasant premium driving experience, and you would maybe not suggest that when you see this car just from the outside, saying like, you know, like this huge box, and also has a cargo commercial version and so on, and it drives way more sophisticated than you think. That's the pleasant surprise for today. Pricing is really interesting. Starts 38,000 euros for the passenger version with the smaller battery and the weaker motor. And then if you add a couple of thousand euros for the bigger battery and you really put it high spec and so on, you still stay below 50,000 euros. Whereas for a Volkswagen ID. Buzz, you would pay like 20,000, 25,000 euros more. However, this one then with a limited VMAX at 135 kilometers an hour, 85 miles an hour, not such a large battery, and of course not that efficient when you go like long-term motorway and so on. Here we could score some 23 kilowatt hours and 1 kilometers today, so we can have a real world range of about 300 kilometers, 180 miles, something like that. But that always at low speeds. As soon as you go higher speeds, it will more drop into the 200 kilometers, 125 miles region, something like that. Unpleasant weather today, but I hope we could give you a pleasant experience. Tell me in the comments what you think about the PV5 here from Kia. And now it's time to compare the VW ID. Bus. Or you can also check the studio episode if you want to hear or see more versions of this one here.